Hey, what's up everybody? Miguel Quiles here, and in this episode, I'm gonna show you guys how I shoot couples portraits in the studio. Welcome back everybody to The Breakdown. My name is Miguel Quiles, and today I'm back in the studio and I wanna show you guys my setup for shooting couples portraits here in the studio. We're gonna be doing a 2-light setup with a reflector. It's gonna be a fairly simple setup once you guys kind of see how it's built up. So I'm gonna show you guys individually what each light is doing and show you guys my settings and everything that you need to know. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so before we get too far into this, I want to introduce my lovely models here. We have Gavin and we have Kat. And they're awesome professional models. They're gonna make my job very easy today, right?
Yeah.
Yes? No? So we're gonna have a good time. We're shooting these couples portraits, and let's talk really quickly about the setup here. So this is gonna be a 2-light setup. I'm using a Profoto Octa. It's a 5-foot Octa, which is going to be my main light for this particular shot. Both of the lights are gonna be different in this case, mainly because my ceiling height in this studio is a little bit low. So what I'm doing is on the light here with the Profoto 5-foot Octa, I'm using one of the new Profoto D2 strobes. It's a 1000 watt strobe, which is great because it's gonna allow me to be able to shoot at a very high f-stop. So I'm aiming to shoot these at around an f16, and shooting with something like the Profoto D2s allows me to do that. The second light, because the ceiling height is a little bit low, I tried to use a second D2, but I couldn't bring this light above them high enough. So what we ended up doing was we're using a Profoto B2, and we're using that mainly as a hair light with a 2x3 Profoto softbox. And what we've done is we've added a grid to this softbox because all I want that light to do is really just to provide a nice hair lights on the top of their heads. We are shooting black clothing on a black backdrop, so I want to make sure that there's a little bit of separation between the subject and the background. So we have 2 lights. Those are the light modifiers that are on those. In order to add a little bit of light, a little bit of fill onto their dark clothing, I'm using a silver collapsible reflector below, and that's really for 2 things. It's to add a little bit of light to their darker clothing. It also provides a really beautiful catch light in their eyes. So any of the shots where they're actually looking towards the camera, you're gonna see a nice little catch light in the bottom of their eyes. So that's the lighting setup, and let's go ahead and talk about the camera and the lens. All right, so we talked about our lighting, we talked about our setup here. Let's talk about the camera and the lens that I'm using. So I'm using the Sony a7R II to take all of these shots, mainly because it's a 42 megapixel file, so I'm gonna get a lot of resolution, a lot of detail. I've paired it up with a 50mm 1.4. Prior to shooting this episode, I actually tried a number of different lenses to see what would give me the best compression and what would give me the best look. And I actually found that the 50mm focal length actually worked great. Whether I was shooting these wide or shooting these as vertical images, the images look really good. So 50mm 1.4 from Sony, and I'm using the Profoto Air Remote for Sony. This just recently was released. And the nice thing about this is that it works with all of Profoto's lights that have the Air Remote built in. So your Profoto B1, B2, D1 and D2 all work with this Air Remote. So that's how you can have this kind of like a mixed lighting setup where you have a D2 as your main light and a B2 as your hair light. You can control all of it from the remote control. You can power them individually as well. So that's what we're using right now for our camera and our lens. As far as the settings, I'm trying to aim at a higher f-stop, so I'm trying to be somewhere between an f14 to maybe an f16 for these shots. That's gonna give me the maximum amount of depth of field, so that we will get nice sharp details in the skin, sharp details on the clothing. It's gonna look really nice. We're going to work within the sync speed limits of our flash. So we're gonna be at a 1/160th of a second and an ISO 100. So it's very straightforward, very simple. The background that I'm using for this as well is something a little different. I'm gonna be using a black vinyl background from Savage. And I have seamless paper, but I really like the vinyl because it's a little less reflective. So I'm trying to basically cut down the amount of reflected light that's coming from this hair light. Even though it has a grid, if I was using seamless paper, you would see a little bit of transition from where that light is hitting the background. I'm trying to avoid that. So using the black vinyl from Savage will help to eliminate some of that glare. So you've got the lighting, you've got the camera, the lens, the settings. Let's go ahead and start shooting. So I want to show you guys exactly what each of these lights is doing. Because oftentimes in these videos, you'll see where all of the lights are on and you don't really understand what's happening with each light. So I want to show you first what the main light source, which is the 5-foot Profoto Octa, what that's doing to light our subject. So we'll take one shot here. That looks awesome, guys. Perfect. All right, so there you can see what's happening with just the Profoto Octa as the main light. And as I'm looking at this, I probably could get away with shooting it with just the one light, but what I really want to do is to have a little bit of separation between my subjects and the dark black background. So what I want to do is I'm going to add a grid and the 2x3 softbox and place it above them to add a little bit of a hair light so we can see if we can separate them from the background. So to show you guys what that looks like, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the main light, and we're just going to use the Profoto B2 lights. All right, so you see what the main light is doing. Now what I did was I turned off the main light, and now I'm using the Profoto B2, and I want to see exactly what this light is doing. So I may have to play around with the positioning a little bit, but I think I've placed it in such a way where I'm going to be getting just a little bit of a hair light around the top of Gavin's head and maybe a little bit onto Kat's head. So let's take a look and see if we've positioned this thing here correctly. Take a shot here. All right, so looking at this shot here, you can see that you're getting a little bit of a hair light on Gavin's head. We're getting a little bit of light on Kat's face as well, based on the pose that she has right here. But once the main light is turned on and we get the reflector below, this is gonna blend together really, really nicely. So now that you see what the hair light is doing, let's go ahead and put the two lights on and let's see how that's looking. All right, so we have both lights on right now, minus the reflector. I wanna show you guys what the main light and the hair light is doing before we add that. So let's go ahead and take that shot here. Very good. So now you could see that we're getting that nice little separation from the background. You're getting a nice little hair light there. Really good highlights on both of their faces, which is gonna look good in post-production. And what I would like to do is to try to add just a little bit more light coming down from below. So I'm gonna go ahead and add this silver reflector. And we're gonna see how much light we can bring back up into their face. And this will also help to add a little bit more light onto their dark clothing as well. So here's the whole light setup. There we go. Very nice. So now you can see that we're getting a lot more light onto the clothing. You can see a little bit of a sheen on Gavin's jacket, which is great. And we're getting really nice highlights on Kat's face. So that's it. This is our setup. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna have you guys do some different poses and we're gonna go ahead and start shooting. All right, everybody, so there you have it, a really easy way to use two lights and a reflector in the studio to shoot portraits of couples. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys had a good time as well. Make sure that you follow them on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook. We'll have their tags in the description for this video. Make sure that you follow me as well while you're there at Miguel Quiles Jr. And most importantly, make sure that you subscribe to Adorama TV. They have tons of videos coming out just about every single day on video and photo and audio and drones and all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm watching. I know you guys are watching, but make sure that you subscribe so you can stay up to date when these videos are released. Also, make sure that you check out the Adorama Learning Center. They have lots of content there as well, lots of great articles, a little bit different than what you find on Adorama TV. So make sure that you check that out. Thanks so much for watching the breakdown, and I will see everybody in the next episode. Bye, everybody.